Hey guys, it's Sappy and welcome back to a new video. It's been a little while since I made a video and life just got hectic, but everybody's life gets hectic sometimes and mine just did. But it's all good now. I can finally be popping out more videos and hopefully you guys enjoy them. So this is my supposedly Halloween video that never got uploaded because I never finished the artwork in time. So it's being uploaded now. I'm not going to put it down as like my Halloween video because that's just a little bit silly when, you know, technically Halloween's already been gone and past and there's no point. So this is just my Corpse Bride headshot in my like no lines painterly style. It took a long time. So the previous video that I did was the White Rabbit. That was like a full body with a background, right? That took me 11 hours. This picture took me 11 hours to do as well. And it was just a headshot. But like, you know, when I do pictures like this, I like to go full in with full detail. So that's why this one was taking so long and took so long. And you know, it's all part of the fun in the end. Like, what's the harm, really? So yeah, I originally tried to go for like a sugar skull feeling, so you know, one of those like the Mexican tradition, and like you paint the sugar skull sort of theme onto your face, and that's a very popular thing also for Chilean people. And you know, I was originally going to go for something like that, and then I was just like, well, why don't I just do something Corpse Bride related, because I love Corpse Bride. Corpse Bride is actually one of my very favorite Tim Burton movies after A Nightmare Before Christmas, and if I get that wrong, like, I'm pretty sure Tim Burton did that movie as well. But you know, last year for Halloween or around Halloween time, I did a Nightmare Before Christmas picture for my sister because that is her all-time favorite movie, and you know, so I did that. But yeah, this year I was like, maybe I'll just go for another, you know, creepy sort of movie, but you know, really good movie. And I love The Corpse Bride, and everything in it's so aesthetically pleasing and so pretty, so I just couldn't help myself. And you know, like, it's a really interesting story about, you know, betrayal and all that sort of stuff. And so yeah, I always forget what to talk about in these videos because I never know what to talk about. So yeah, as you can see, I like to blend a lot in my drawings. I am very, very much into, even with my painterly style, I like to blend to the point which I call rendering. I like to render it down until it's as smooth as possible looking, and that the colors all look like they're faded from one part to another, even though, you know, you can see me just work on one section of the face for like 20 minutes. Or even an hour sometimes, just because I wanted it to look a specific way and have the highlight and have this sort of shading and have this and that, and still have, you know, that dead but not dead creepy look about it. I'm very, very new to realism, so this is semi-realism, and it's not that great proportion-wise, but it's hard, okay? I looked back at it like a week later and I'm like, oh no, but I couldn't change it because if I changed it then I'd have to change everything else, and then I would have shot myself because it takes forever to do something, and then when you look at it and then you see something that you have to change, you just, sometimes you're bothered and sometimes you're not, and this was one of the times when I was not, because I just had spent so much time basically perfecting it to the way it was meant to be. So yeah, so usually when I do stuff like this, it's actually on one layer, but this time I was just like, maybe I'll just leave everything onto its own layers and just, you know, do it that way, because other times when I've done everything on the one layer, I've mixed up all the colors and I've made a real big mess and I can't fix it sometimes, and colors aren't meant to be but they're there, and then da-da-da-da. So I just did it this way where I had multiple layers of different sections. So phone sorry. So, you know, like the hair was on its own layer, the veil was on its own layer, but everything on the face except for the eyelashes and except for the eyes and the eyelashes were on a separate layer. And yeah, and I just, also just to point this out, even though I might be past this bit already. But when I was doing the boobs, and this is gonna sound weird, but I personally own a corset, and you know, wedding dresses and corsets, what they do is they push your boobs up to the top, so you have that nice cleavage look, but it also gives you your boobs like this bounced look, if that makes any sense. But basically what I was trying to emulate with the boobs was that look where it's pushed up, but you can also see the indent of where, like, because it's the corset pushing it up into the front. So, but in the end, I think I made it really smoothly rendered to the point where, like, you could tell it's there, but at the same time, like, it's not there. And then I think, I don't know if I recorded this bit or not, I might have, but there was also a part where I was just like, screw it, because it was like super late at night and I was just done with everything, and I basically said screw it, and I started using the watercolor brush to blend everything together. And then if it's even in the recording, I erased it all the way back until it didn't do that, or I think I closed that and then opened it previously at the old save, because I just hated how that blended look looks when I'm doing this sort of oil painting-esque type of picture or artwork. It gives me a wrong feeling. Even with my watercolor artworks, I don't do that heavily blended look. I only use that with my 4-layer shading system when I'm doing my normal digital art, because it's just the way I figured out how to do it and the way I figured out how to shade. And I'm slowly actually going away from that, but I still use that system because it's easy to do when I'm lazy. But yeah, and overall I was actually really happy with this piece, because like, holy sheesh kebab. This picture took me so long, and most of it was because of the hair. Like, the skin and the hair are the two main parts that like basically screwed me over. Because when like, I like to do really detailed hair and really detailed stuff, so when I was doing the hair, it took me 5 ever to do, because the hair just wouldn't be hair. It, like, I do it in each section would look different than what it was previously and everything, and it was just so bad. But in the end, it just looks so good. Like, as you can see later on, where the shade is coming from, where the light is coming from, I left at the base color of the hair, and then I shaded in the rest of it in the darker color, in the darkest color I had for the hair. And then I added in the highlights, because I thought, and I realized that's a little bit easier to do than going from a light to a dark. And if you've done traditional oil paintings, you know that you always go from dark to light. So if you want to do something dark after you've done something light, you have to wait for the painting to dry before you do that. Whereas when you go from a dark color to a lighter color, it's much easier because the colors blend in a lot easier. And white is so powerful, and lighter colors are very powerful in that sense, because it takes hold of the image and the colors, and it's very hard to blend back into that darker look. So that's why I took that mentality of using the dark to light. But then you can always obviously see that I obviously went a little too light with it sometimes, so I went back in with the dark, and it is very frustrating when you get to a point where it's like, oh yes, this looks good, and then you realize it's a bit too light for that section, and you have to go back in with the darks, and you're just like, this is dumb. But yeah, overall I love this picture. It's one of my favorite painting style drawings I've done in a very, very long time. And it just looks so good, even though it has a few issues. But I just love it to pieces. So yeah, thank you for watching. And if you'd like to see more stuff, there'll be a link in the end card for the latest video that I did before this one. And please like, comment, subscribe if you want to. You don't have to. And I'll see you guys next week. thank you again for sticking around and waiting for my stupid ass. But yeah. Also, half of this was done in a live stream where we watched the Game Grumps rage. So that was fun. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Mushrooms, but they shrink you because who doesn't like a good twist?